Hi guys and welcome to the Batch Lady. Today you'll notice I don't have my apron on because today is a Through the Keyhole special. I have had so many of you getting in touch saying please, 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 will you show us your pantry, will you show us your cupboard? And today I'm going to take you through the door into my pantry so that you can have a look. And I'm going to explain all the things that I buy, what it looks like and why it's in the place that it is. Let's go. Okay guys, so welcome to my pantry. Now, it's a really hard place to film and that's why I never put it on. I've got about 5 huge bright lights going on in here and it's still really dark. There's no window, it's a little dark place at the back of our farmhouse and yeah, we didn't really know, we added this bit on, we didn't really know what to do with it. We didn't need this little bit of space, so it was going to make a bigger loo, or because we've got a loo next door, and I said, actually, can we make a pantry? So we ended up with this. Now, it was just a little dark room and we just got joiners put in really heavy duty shelves, so nothing fancy in here at all, just huge big shelves put in so that I could then stack everything up. So for those of you that think that I hoard stuff, if anybody does when they look at my pantry, remember I live a very long way from any shops, and so my husband always has, so he's grown up used to buying in bulk, always having stuff in, so you don't have to worry about going to the shops, and that is exactly what we always do. We buy in bulk as well. We buy a lot from Costco, and we buy a lot from like Wine Warehouse and big sort of places like that, because buying in bulk is actually cheaper, so if you can afford the initial outlay then it's quite often better, as long as you don't eat it or drink it all at once. Okay, so it's hard for you to see, so I'm going to go right back. I'm going to bring you in closer and explain all the shelves, but if I go right back, I've got shelves on one side, shelves on the other, and this is our good old trusted fridge that used to be in my kitchen before my kitchen was redone. It's old, the handle's broken, the shelves sometimes break and we have to buy new shelves for it, but it is great. We didn't throw it out, there was a space there and we thought, actually, let's just have an extra fridge. I really use it for defrosting extra meals. I use it if I'm batch cooking and I can buy extra stuff and throw it in there, and I use it for drinks and stuff when people come over and you want extra beer or something in the fridge. So that's pretty much our old trusted fridge, okay? And then on the fridge I've got this thing, which is like just like a little it's just a shopping list really, okay? And I keep a pen up here, and this is for anybody that's in here and takes something out that's the last thing, okay? So my kids are teenagers, so if they need it again they can put it in. If I'm here and I'm looking at some spices and I realise that the cumin's got a tiny little bit left, I can just throw it on the shopping list. Okay guys, so I've taken you off the stand, so I'm just winging it now, so I hope this is going to work. Okay, so I'm up on these step ladders, if you can see. So I'm up here beside the lamp. This is my lamp, if you like. It's a mason jar lamp. Okay, so on my top shelf, this is where I keep all the bulk buys. So the things that I'm not using every day. Can you see that okay? There we go. So the things that I'm not using every day. So extra kitchen rolls. I've got some Ziploc bags here, more kitchen rolls. Along here I've got big bags of pasta, some extra cereal, because I decant this and put it into like plastic containers that go into the kitchen. I've got like a big bag of muesli, some OXO cubes over there, so things that I've gone to Costco and buy but I don't need just go on the very top shelf. Okay, let's work our way down to the next shelf down here. So up here I have some extra crisps and things like that, and again this is quite high up, so these are extras that we don't use all the time. Okay, so extra crisps, extra olive oil, different olive oils, some things at the back that I don't use very much of, that the odd ingredient you might use, you know, sesame oil, truffle oil, things like that. And then as we come over here, I always have these bags of rolled oats and some extra panko breadcrumbs, because I go through both of these a lot. My kids eat porridge and I panko breadcrumb lots of things. And then up here I keep some other breadcrumbs and some spicy couscous, which I always buy from Costco in a big jar. And then back there, because you can't really get in from the fridge, I tend to keep the stuff that I never usually use that often, or baking things that, you know, I can get whenever I need, but I don't use them a great deal. Right, I'm going to run you along this shelf. start at the front and I'll come back to camera to speak to you, okay? Hold on. Okay, so that's a bit better, I can see you again. So on my door, I've put these spice racks, okay, one above and one below, and they are just brilliant because as I come along the corridor here, I quite often just want to grab the spice rack and grab the spice and go back. These were really good. They weren't that cheap. They were about £30, but they have been a godsend, and I love them being on the door instead of sort of on a shelf or something. They're quite thin, so they work great to be on a door, and when the door closes, nobody sees them, so it's perfect. Right, come on in. Okay guys, this is a really small space to film in, so bear with me. It might not be the best of the Batch Lady films that you've ever seen, but I want to sort of show you what's in my pantry as well. Okay, so what I do is, so the door's here, so say I just walk in like this. I always like the things that I'm going to use the most all the time to be right here, okay? So if you can see on this shelf too, so there's more herbs here, some extra herbs, some salt and peppers, Worcestershire sauce, and then it gets onto tins of tomatoes, passata. So these are all things that I use over and over and over again. So I've planned my pantry so that I just grab and go, okay? So the things that I use less are all the way along this end, and then if you can see that, and then the things I use the most are back here, okay? So things like stock and stock cubes, and you know the things that we always use, so I use tons of them. I use a lot of pastes. I don't use big jars of stuff, but I love, there's the Nduja paste that we're always talking about, do you remember? I use lots of paste, lots of pestos, tahini paste, so all that stuff is quite near the front because I cook with it a lot. And my cans are all down here. Let me see if I can bring you down a bit to show you. Okay, so then I have all my cans and I love them all lined up. It's the way I like to do it. I always start with my canned tomatoes and my passatas because I use them all the time. I always have an emergency jar of dolmio because I don't use it that often, but there's always a crisis and you need it. It's good. Lots of lentils, black beans, 3-bean salads, refried beans, chickpeas. We use a lot of this sort of stuff. We cook a lot of Mexican food. I tend to put these beans in lots of things that the kids don't know that they're eating, so I do tend to do that. Some tinned veg just in case. Usual beans, tuna, coconut milk, and then we're on to soups back here. So, and it's Campbell's soup. My good old trusty friend Campbell's soup that I can then put in any sort of sauces or things like that. And then just coming up here, you can see up here, so I've got my pastes here, as I said. This is all a box of stock cubes. These boxes work great for holding all the little bits. And then over here is where I really keep all my pastas, noodles, bags of gnocchi, rice. I keep rice in a big tub like this. I find it works really well. Pantries quite often look beautiful. You know, if you look on Pinterest or you look on Instagram, you look at people's pantries, they look absolutely gorgeous. They're all in these glass jars, and I've done that. I've been there, done it. I'm fed up decanting everything into glass jars. Things like this work great when I'm just pouring out some rice compared to the big bag it comes in. But generally I tend to keep most things in their container that they come in, unless it's been a huge packet that's been opened and it needs to be decanted. I do put cereal in these sort of things rather than have the cereal boxes all through there because they fit in the cupboard better. But for example, macaroni, this came in a huge jar, in a huge bag, so I just put it in this jar. Okay, so working our way back, let's come into my pantry. I always keep a few of these just in case. Sometimes my husband just asks for rice and he's the only one eating it, so I don't want to go and cook rice for one person, so if they're on special offer I'll quite often buy them. And I'm terrible, look, for opening tomato pastes when I've already got some open, so I've got a huge box, all of them are open, so I'm going to have to use them. So this side of my pantry tends to be, I've got big open spaces here and down here, and I tend to put food here to cool because I've got dogs and I'm quite often doing videos in the kitchen. I'll bring the food through just to cool maybe for about 30 minutes till it goes in the freezer. You know, you don't want to put anything in the freezer hot or warm, so this is a good safe place for it to go. I do buy lots of these, we buy lots of this Costco bread because, especially with coronavirus at the moment, we're not getting out as much, and bread is great. These things are great for lunches, just with cheese and ham and various sort of things. And up here, if you can see up here, this is where I tend to keep like extra bin liners and lens cleaner and some Pyrex dishes, and all my sort of extra bits, okay, that I generally don't need as well. So and then down here, just show you down here, which is a good top tip for kids. So down here in these two big boxes are all the baking things, okay? So the bottom one is all the kiddie baking stuff, and this one is all the flours and sultanas, golden castor sugar, designated coconut, all that sort of stuff. The reason this is in two big boxes is I've got the kids at home at the moment and they're doing tons of baking, so I don't want them trying to get stuff off the shelves and then stuff falls down, or usually it's right at the back and I can reach it but they can't. So I've made up these two big boxes because I'm really into kids having easy access, so I can carry on working if you're working from home, and if your kids know where stuff is and they can put it back and tidy it up after themselves, then all the better. So I find a box down low works great. So once the kids go back to school in September, I will decant this back up to the shelf, and then I don't mind helping them out on a Saturday if they're going to do it. But Zara bakes pretty much every day, so I want it down here for her, and I know that it's her responsibility to get it all back in the boxes. That's my pantry, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Any questions, let me know, okay? Thank you, bye.